is to always look at the positives, man. Always look at the positives. Remain strong, and I've remained strong unbelievably. Right throughout, I've never let any of that get to me. I'm just thankful, as you are, Heights, to just still be here. I'm really thankful to still be here. Hey, hi, brother. Kia ora, bro. How are you?
Hey, here we go. Oh,
Oh, sorry, bro. I haven't got any bloody, what you call them, earphones.
That's right. No problem, brother. No problem, bro.
Yeah, no, I've been good, Heights. Been good, bro. Yeah,
Awesome.
keeping well as best as possible.
Awesome, bro. Thank you for doing this for us, bro. And
No worries, man.
yeah, and as we speak, the world is just evolving so quick, bro. It's just moving, but I'm not too sure if our young ones understand what it takes to sit back and just take a step back and just reflect there, and
Yeah, and I think appreciate the simple things, man.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Awesome. Awesome, bro. Since we got you going, bro, is it okay if we open up with a karakia?
Yeah, for sure, Hutch.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Right. E te atua ka harawa. Tēnei māua e tuku whakamumiti ki a koe mō manakitanga ki runga i a mātou i ra tangata ki runga i tō tātene oranga. Nei rā hoki e tuku whakamumiti ki runga i a koe kia whai kaha ki runga i a mātou, whai māramatanga, whai aroha me ngā kōrero o takatoa ai ki wainunu i a tāua. Me te maringa e mātaki mai. He te atua, nau te kaha, te kōria, te māramatanga, mai te rangi ki te whenua ki te rangi. Haumi e, hui e. Right. Would you like to introduce yourself? Just a quick introduction, mate.
Yep. So, kia ora whanau, I'm Josh David, born and bred in Huntly, 1976. I was fortunate to be, to grow up in Huntly, obviously. Attended Huntly West kindergarten, then moved on to Huntly West primary school with the likes of your brother, Hodge, Will, and Stevie, and Paul, and co. Then moved on to Huntly College from about 1990 to, I think, 94, right until 7th form. Yes. And then I went on to work at Rivermore Bakeries, formerly Shan's Bakeries in Huntly, and then worked there for a number of years, and then I now reside in Napier.
Kia ora. Amazing, brother. Thank you. And also your, bit of background, bro, in terms of heritage.
Yep. So I'm of Cook Island Māori and New Zealand Māori descent. So my mum's from Ngāti Maniapoto from Piopio in the King Country, and my dad is from Waititaki in the Cook Islands. We're actually Tianangas, but because my dad was brought up with his grandfather, whose surname was Tabita, and David in English, he took on that name. And my dad was brought up with my uncle Turiaki, Uncle Aki, which is Vince's and Julian's dad, and also another uncle, Uncle Johnny, and also my auntie Nania as well. So they called each other brother and sisters, which is why obviously Jules and Vince, we call each other cousins, but our first cousins are actually Stephen and Moiro and Boy and Kaku, if you can remember them. And we're related to Tamati and the likes as well. So that's where our surname comes from. As far as my siblings go, I've got an older brother, Laki, who I played quite a bit of football with growing up, and my beautiful sister, Tammy. And we've also got two younger brothers, Leonard and Joe, who we love dearly. Although they're much bigger than I am, we still affectionately call them our little bros, and they're very talented musicians and very humble. I'm really proud to be the older brother, to be honest. My wife Shelley, she comes from, I believe, Waiku or somewhere out there. Hodge. that's where their whānau's from, I believe. My kids, so I've got 5 children. My oldest son is Levi, and his mihi or his work is around where I work. Actually, all my boys, they work sort of around me in the industrial area in Waikato.
So yeah, Joshy, if you'd like to, we're gonna hand the time over to you, bro, and if you'd like to take us down memory lane, where you would say rugby league started for you.
Yep. So rugby league for me started at Hunter United. So when my brother and I were 6 and 7, my dad took us to the Hunter United club rooms just to the left, by the toilets there. And we were supposed to start in the under 7s, but they didn't actually have a team. So then we walked along to the Huntley South changing rooms, and we actually started. They had a team, so we actually jumped in with them. So we started playing for Huntley South up until about, I think, the under 12s, Hodge. Yeah, so from the age of 7 to 12, we played with Huntley South, and then we made the move to Taniporo at age 12. I was already going to Huntley with primary school with the likes of your brother Willie and Stevie and Co and Eddie Berryman, all those guys. So it was quite easy to make the transition. But growing up with Huntley South, I suppose it wasn't that serious. So it didn't really turn serious for us until we actually moved to Taniporo. And then we had Stevie Berryman Senior as a coach. And that's when everything sort of changed for my football as far as development and growth and training and all that stuff happened, Hodge.
Amazing. So what? Yeah, just thank you for sharing those early stages because, oh man, from mine perspective, I thought you were just Taniporo through brain, but what a journey! I've seen those early stages.
Yeah. So moving from Huntley South to Taniporo, to the mighty Taniporo, was quite daunting and quite intimidating, actually, Hodge. And my brother and I were quite shy back then, and we're actually a little bit scared, with the likes of who was it back then, like Norman Rapana and Jason Kiriopa and James Waikato and Willie Rahi and all those guys. Like, oh man, look at these guys. These guys, like, to us, back then they seemed like big and mean, but it wasn't until I believe that we started to play that I think that we hopefully gained their respect in terms of these guys, these brothers actually all right, and I think we're all right. So, but yeah, initially it was quite intimidating making the move across.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, also, I'm even wondering what did those conversations look like when you were at Huntley West? With the likes of all the peers that you were rubbing shoulders with, the Bray Wool and so on.
Yeah. So they didn't give me too much slack when I was playing for Huntley South. It was myself and my cousin Stephen Tiananga. We actually played for Huntley South. And I'm not sure if you remembered a guy, Alan St. John. He was an old Huntley boy too. We played for Huntley South. And when I first started playing, actually, mate, Stu Heslop was in our team as well.
At Huntley South?
Team at Huntley South.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we played together for a number of years as well. And then he made the transition later on to Taniporo. I think about 14s, 14s or 15s.
Oh, awesome, bro. Yeah. It's really interesting to hear these stories and like the transitions and but how grateful that we are from a Taniporo, through and through. From a view there, mate, and seeing what those conversations may have looked like. Even now, I'm wondering what Stewie, how did that come about, with Stewie and his transition? But awesome.
It's like way back then, like Taniporo was seen like I felt that they were seen like, you know, like a real powerful and strong club, and an intimidating club. Not in a bad way, but
Yeah,
because they were so strong, you know, and they had a lot of good players and strong players. And back then, you know, my brother and I thought, man, can we even fit? You know, can we even mix it in with these guys? You know,
yeah,
would we be able
yeah.
to hold our own?
Yes.
You know, coming from Huntly South, making that transition to Taniwharo. So we had to probably fight a lot harder and try and play a lot harder just to try and fit. But yeah, that's how we felt way back then, Hutch.
Awesome, Josh. You mentioned the name, man, and it was really instrumental in many of my tuakana, of my senior uh, cousins, and that's our uncle Stevie Berriman.
Oh yeah, mate,
Yeah,
incredible.
how would you say your introduction was to meeting him and being put in that environment, his environment?
Yeah, Stevie, really humble, really humble. Doesn't give it just like your brother, mate. Really humble, the most humblest guys you can ever meet. Even yourself,
Mm,
Hutch. Really, really grounded, really humble. Um, Probably the most like, this is being honest, man. Your brother and Stevie were probably the most influential players way back then, I thought, as far as skill goes, as far as training ethic, work ethic. Man, Stevie Berwin, Junior, mate,
yeah,
is his work ethic, his training, he used to always growl us if we didn't go to training, so we had to go to training. But even if we were sick, even if we were dying, man, he'd make us go to training. But that's that's his work ethic, man. You know, and it shows now. You know, it's no surprise that the Berman kids are doing so well, man. It's really no surprise, man. It's just, you know, the trainings that they had at the back, all of the kids, you know, Harry, Putato, Glory, Edith, Michelle, all of them.
mm,
They had that work ethic, and you know, with touch as well, and introducing, you know, both sports and implementing both sports and skills. I learned a lot through that, to be honest.
awesome, mate. Yeah, and you touched on Stevie Junior. Right on. And what would you say your first impressions with Uncle Stevie? Uncle Stevie.
Oh,
Yeah, how would you say?
funny, really funny, but really, he's probably he probably changed the way that I played. He probably shaped me or started to mold me into the player I eventually became.
Yeah,
Um, he used to have this saying that, you know, to all of us, you should eat, sleep, and shit football, which is pretty much what we did back then. Right, you know, growing up with the likes of your brother and Stevie and that. That's all we ever did was just, you know, just football, 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 football. That's all we did, staying over each other's houses, you know, eating.
that's it. Yeah,
It's all we did, man. It's just football, whether it be, you know, training, running around together, playing touch and football at lunchtime and interval. That's all we ever did way back
that's
then.
awesome, mate. Awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you again, mate. Thank you very much. And what would in that era of being a teenager and making their transition over from Huntly South over to Taniwharo, what would
Mm.
you say some of the memories? How would you describe some of your memories, mate, around your peers and around the game?
I got heaps of fond memories, Hodge. Hard to sort of pinpoint one
Mm.
that
If you
really
got
sticks
three,
out.
if we focus on three, mate, or just even a couple, just to try and draw up and based on understanding, it's helping to understand.
Yeah, well, the first, you know, one of the main things that I gained out of it was friendship and brotherhood, for
Okay.
sure.
Yep.
You know, we had the likes of rest his soul, you know, Mickle, um brother Mikkel, fortunate to grow up with him. All the younger ones growing up like yourselves, some really good players like, Ho Wilson coming through, Te Aroa. We had the older ones like, Terry Clune and Norman Rapana and Norman Hill and, Wally Rahe and James Waikai. We had all those guys sort of, around us. But the manakitanga, the tautoko, whether it was, playing football or just being at school, man, just having that, being surrounded by, Tani Poto and your peers, man, was special. It was really special.
Definitely. Oh, awesome. Were there any sort of challenges that you were facing in that journey of your teenage years, or any challenges or any lessons that we think of? I'm thinking here, mate. I'm thinking outside the box here. There was some. Well, I looked up to all of you, but I know for a fact there was some mischievousness. So, what did that look like from your perspective, mate? We're just trying to spice it up a bit.
Yeah, no, you're right. The boys were quite terrible, especially when they had a little bit to drink. They were mischievous, but they were funny at the same time, man. Really funny. Like, growing up with Mikkel, man, he was really funny. Your brother too could get up to mischief, but in a good way,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Titu and drinking and just doing silly things. Man. Stevie Verman's probably the one that took the cake, but all of them had their own quirks and lots of funny, lots of laughs, man. That's
awesome.
That's what I can take out of it. Lots of laughs, lots of what is it? It just mainly laughs more than anything, but also when it comes to being serious, whether it be through whānau or through football, would definitely back each other. 100%, 110%. So that was one of the main ones. But also, Hodge, what I also felt special back then is the amount of aroha and support, all the families had, like your whānau, the Rangi whānau, the Berman whānau. That was really special back then too, the Clouston whānau, the Clune whānau. Everyone was into football back then and into whanaungatanga and looking after each other. It was awesome walking around and driving around the street and, saying hello to pretty much, all of Huntly. Because everyone was looking out for everybody and you felt safe. In Huntly, So it was a safe place. I'm hoping it still is now. But I've been out of Huntly for 11 years now. But that's how it was back then. You felt safe. You felt that you knew everybody and that you could rock up to any one of your mates' houses and you go and have a feed, no problem. You'd be welcomed in. It was special. It was a special time.
Definitely, man. Yeah, it was very special, mate. Growing up and looking up to you guys. And also rugby league it's very bland when there's no spice of laughter or memories like the mischievousness that we sometimes get up to, because that's what makes rugby league. And you talked about the switch, you talked about the light switch, mate. When everyone's mucking around, but when there's time to focus and get serious, there's a light switch internally, a light switch that everyone just switches on and gets onto the kaupapa.
Yeah, and I think that was probably one of our strongest things back then too, is that at the flick of a switch we could just change and bang, be serious straight away. And we could flick that switch on and off whenever we liked,
Definitely.
And it's something that I probably take for granted now, how easily we could do that.
Yeah.
When we needed to train harder, we would. When we relax, we would. But as soon as it comes to game time, or whenever we had to be serious, man, we'd just make that switch and for sure, And you had to either bike or walk to your friend's house to see if they were home, and walk all that way, like from Pirate Ave to Harris Street, and no one's home, Walk over to your house and no one's home. You get and then you got to walk back. But these days, it's just a text or
Exactly.
different. But you enjoyed that, way back then. Like you'd
Exactly.
pick up one friend and go and see another friend. Then you'd have those conversations on the way to their houses, and have laughs and stuff like that. It's
Definitely, man.
real special stuff, real special stuff.
Awesome, Josh. Awesome, bro. Thank you again for sharing these memories and your experiences and your perspectives. So we want to move into the senior level now, mate. Senior football, where the majority of us, younger fellas, had to, we made an effort to walk over to Davies Park to come and watch you fellas play, and everywhere else that you guys play. If you'd like to, touch on your experiences, bro, growing up in the senior level of around Tani Whare.
Yep. Senior football was a special time for me. I started a little bit later than your brother and Stevie. I think Stevie and Willie were still in like 16 years old, 15 or 16 years old when they made their premier debut. When they played, and for us, looking up and saying, man, look at our mates playing senior football already. I remember we used to go and watch the Tani Whare premiers way back then. We were like 15, 14, 15, and they used to lose quite a bit, if you can remember.
Yep.
And we always used to think, we say, man, we know just a couple more years, boys, we'll get there and we'll help them. We'll be able to help them. And we used to think, far out, man, we got to get up there, boys, hurry up. So
Awesome.
being able to finally get there and being able to hopefully help and not make a mark, but help, Tani Whare as a club to improve, man. That was our goal way back then when we were 14, 15, Hodge. That's what we wanted to do. My early memories of playing senior football involved playing, the likes of, Tanga Raumati and Joe Ryan and Hikuari Muru and Tukere Barlow and Beaumont Dawson, all those guys, and it was, really intimidating because we're like, 16, 17, playing. So for us, or for me especially, was like, man, how are you going to be able to man up, to those seasoned players at such a young age? So, you had to probably put your big boy boots on and just try and play as hard as you can and try and go for as long as you can, Hodge. Back then.
Awesome.
It was a really special time back then, Hodge.
Cool. Who would you say the chiefs of the Tani Whare Premier side would be to help you guide you through, and the people that you looked up to, Josh?
One of the ones that stuck out, mate, was James Kopu. He welcomed and nurtured us. Who else was there? Tamaho Haya, my cousin Julian David.
Yes.
Yeah, he was there. But we also had sort of the Terry Clune was there. Did I say Tamaho Haya?
Yes.
Yeah. Tama, who else was there? Just the likes of those guys. Blake Gilbert, Blake was there as well. Yeah, it was those guys. Tanarahe, Loza was up there as well. Lewis Hill, there's quite a few of them.
Awesome.
There was quite a few of them. So they made us feel welcome and made us feel comfortable, but also, making sure that we didn't muck around and we played as hard as we could.
Awesome. Oof, those are some names, my bro, that you just threw out.
Yeah, quite a few names back then.
Yeah. Cool. And how we do our podcast, bro, how we do the Golden Pot podcast, when those names are mentioned, that's my job. Our job is to let's go and find their perspective there, and share their perspective, because it all comes around, it all circles around, man. And for you saying those names, man, full respect and acknowledgements to them. Awesome.
Yeah, lots of names, lots of names back then. Obviously James Walker was a superstar back in the day.
Yeah.
But it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, way back then. And I just want to I shouldn't go past Stevie Berman too. I think he's probably the pioneer of the young ones going across to Australia. Like, you know, when he made the shift to
Definitely.
Manly, and he made that shift to Manly, he was only like 16 years old. And I think he opened up a lot of gateways, a lot of pathways where, you know, the rangatahi could go across and play in Sydney. So yeah, I want to take my hat off to him.
Awesome.
And also to the Berryman whānau for making it possible, man, for everybody else to follow. Yeah, so I always say that to him, man, but he always says, nah, it's all right. But I said, stop being humble, man. Stop being humble.
Exactly, bro, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Lovely,
awesome.
man.
Definitely. Awesome. So we've taken a journey, mate. We've started from kindergarten, now we've made our way into senior football. And real just little just gems, mate, just gems everywhere, Josh. But yeah, I wanna touch on briefly some of the coaches that you were able to engage with and work alongside.